I like how Dr. Robert Lustig, author of Metabolical and many other good books, one of the leading anti-sugar crusaders in the world, he contends that if you just eliminate processed foods from your diet, you can't get fat and you won't get sick, you won't get metabolic disease patterns. And it's as simple as that. And so that's some common ground.
I can get fat.
You can get fat. It's harder. Yeah. It's harder to get fat, but you can definitely get fat.
I mean, tell me when.
Right away.
I guess.
I'll show you the Bell jeans. You'll be shocked.
The Bell jeans. Mr. Bojangles' Bell jeans are really big. Yeah. I mean, you go fatten yourself up on steaks and eggs. Yeah. You know, you went from 6 eggs to 12 eggs a day. And then you went from 3 steaks to 4. There's a certain point where you're probably going to level off, and it might be above our performance weights if we all do this experiment, but it's not going to be disaster.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, this talk about endotoxins, which you hear a lot of people talking about now. When you eat that processed food, you produce endotoxins. It's internally manufactured toxins that interfere with your ability to burn fat, or to function mitochondria effectively. And so you start to get bad at burning energy internally. And so therefore, where do you trend to? You're reaching for more and more processed foods and sugary beverages just to get energy, because you can't burn fat internally and everything's all screwed up because you have these processed foods in your diet. And so that sends you down a slippery slope. And that's why I think zero tolerance is probably a good recommendation for a lot of people that are stuck in this processed food sugar burning pattern. Is you gotta walk away from that stuff and get good, get your body back in gear.
You got to break yourself away from that stuff.
Yeah, like Jay Feldman says, hey, if you say that you feel better from fasting versus eating breakfast, we got to go take a look at your breakfast. Because if you have a nice, nutritious breakfast, you're probably going to feel pretty good. And you might feel good fasting too, because you've built those capabilities. But that's a good quote also. It's like, get the shit food out of your diet. You're going to start feeling better. But then what if you, back to my personal example, because I have good blood work, I have good body composition. Where's my optimization? I've been on a 3-month experiment now to eat more food. See what happens.
Pat Roger family, how's it going? We talk about sleep all the time on this podcast. That's why we partnered with 8 Sleep mattresses. Now, this mattress is the Tesla of sleep. It's the Tesla of beds. Its technology tracks your heart rate variability. It changes its own temperature based off the way you sleep so that you get better sleep every single night. It is quite literally insane. Check them out. Andrew, how do they get it?
Yes, and before I do that, I wanted to let you guys know that you can actually set the bed to wake you up silently. I know that sounds weird, but actually the bed starts vibrating around your head, and it doesn't wake up the entire household the way my phone used to do back in the day. So now I just kind of have the bed wake me up silently, and it's amazing. You guys got to head over to 8sleep.com/power project. That's EIGHT sleep.com/power project. When you guys go there, you'll see a banner across the top saying that you're going to receive $150 off automatically. So again, that's 8sleep.com/power project to receive $150 off your Pod Pro cover or your Pod Pro cover and mattress combo. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes. Let's get back to the podcast.
And I think you're bringing up a really excellent point. A lot of people in fitness, like if Andy Galpin was here right now and he was observing us talking about, even all of us here talking about fasting, he would be like, this is a ridiculous conversation. Why are any of you guys fasting? And that's just because, again, like we're already in good shape. I think one thing that's interesting is that somebody that is unhealthy and very overweight, what I've noticed is that they got to get themselves to a healthy point before they can start to really lose weight. Now, they might lose some bloat and they might lose some weight and they might knock off 10, 20 pounds. I've seen people do that before. Like, I tried keto and bam, this weight came right off. But there's like a little extra piece of the puzzle that after some of that initial weight comes off, they have to try to figure out how to get themselves healthy. And that is really hard because you're thinking that it would work the opposite way around. You're thinking, if I lose this fat, this is my road to success. I'm going to be healthier. But it's a little bit like being successful, or it's a little bit like attracting a woman. It's a little bit like attracting success, where you have to first become a successful person. You need successful attributes to then be worthy of success. You need to, we had a Russian lifter years ago explain to us how to deadlift, and he took the rings, the Olympic rings that you use for gymnastics, and he said, He said, this is how you deadlift. And he said, deadlift is like Pretty Woman. And he pushed the ring away from him, and then he let it go, and then the ring swung towards him. And he's like, but most of you are trying to reach for the Pretty Woman, you know, and then he showed how it like when you reach for it and grab it, it goes away from you. And I think that a lot of the stuff like this, when it comes to the diet and when it comes to success, you have to first have the habits ingrained first. You have to start to accumulate some of those habits. How do you ingrain some of those habits? Sometimes you're going to have to go to like a boot camp almost. Sometimes you're going to have to really go to war with it, make these black and white rules to where you're like, I'm doing this for 60 days. I'm doing this for 90 days. Andy Frisella has 75 hard that he does. And it's a challenge, and he gets rid of drinking, and he tries to have people really commit to something that they would consider to be hard for 75 days. But again, when you get healthy, none of it's hard because you leveled up and you're used to it. So it's a complicated thing to kind of get when you're on the outside and you're very upset and frustrated with where you're at the moment.
Yeah.
But it's those little tiny steps, that 10-minute walk that you force yourself to do. You pushing off a meal that you know that you shouldn't have. Like those are the harder things to do. The decision to eat the good food isn't really that hard usually for a lot of people. It's the saying no in the circumstances and situations that you're always in, where you know the food's going to be compromised, watching a football game or going to the birthday party or whatever social thing it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, real quick, there's an aspect though that one should think about. You hear these anecdotes, like for example, GSP has talked about, hey, how's it? Sorry, I'm not going to whisper. I know you guys are enjoying this content, and we love talking to all these people and bringing you guys great information. So if you could help us out by hitting the like button, because that helps the algorithm, subscribe and hit the notification bell, we're going to continue reaching more people, and we're going to continue helping more people. Talk to y'all later.